BC, how are we all doing? George back. Hope everyone's well. It's getting a bit colder here. Heating on full. Yeah, it's a bit dull outside. Not heard from George Allen for a long time, so he was a bit poorly his last video he done. So George, hope you're okay. If anybody knows George, give us a shout. So only 4 items this week. What can one do? Slowing down for Christmas, I guess. So yeah, 2 Blue Note classics this week, or this month, were released. I bought one, and this is Grachan moncur, Evolution, from 1964. The other one, I've got Andrew Hill. I've got Music Matters Jazz, so no need to buy 2 copies. Even though they're great value, well, these cost £20 here, the best buy in records, I guess. So Grachan moncur the third, he's only released 2 LPs on Blue Note. This is from '64, and the lineup is Lee Morgan on trumpet, Grachan moncur on trombone, Jackie McLean alto sax, Bobby Hutchison on vibes, Bob Crenshaw on bass, and Tony Williams on drums. Just a great lineup, and there's 4 Grachan moncur tracks on this. Now, I got his other album on Blue Note back earlier in the year, and it was fantastic. So I've been really looking forward to this album coming out, and just put off buying a more expensive copy. And it was worth the wait. Now, if you don't like avant-garde jazz, and the Andrew Hill one, they're probably not for you, but £20 here, they're such fantastic value. I nearly bought the Andrew Hill one just for that reason, but it's not too avant-garde. It's listenable and it's interesting, and it's an album you'll be able to go back to and back to. So it's a great dive into the avant-garde. Grachan moncur, he's more a side man. Didn't make a lot of solo albums, and but I'm so glad to have this LP. So next up is upgrade for me. It's an expensive upgrade in many ways. This is Marvin Gaye, obviously, What's Going On. If you don't have this album in your collection in any form, you've got to buy it. And I think I've had a few copies of this LP, and I think if I only had to have one copy, one LP in my collection, there's probably not a better album to have. So this is the recent 2 LP version, originally released in 1971. This is the new Kevin Gray remastered version, Tamla Motown. As usual, Tamla label. Show you the other. Marvin Gaye, the great Marvin Gaye, died too young. And the second album is an album of outtakes, which is plus a couple of B-sides on there, so it's really worth having. It's maybe 2017-16, Abbey Road Half Speed Master released a 4 LP version, and it was just the main album, a remix of the original album, and I think it was 2 live albums. I sold that when I got the Mo-Fi One Step, which I've now got up for sale because this is all analog and the Mo-Fi is a digital mix on it. So great album. Most people know it. If you don't know it, you've got to buy this album. It's beautiful and full of God. I mean, when he first released it, his record company sort of almost rejected it and said, look, you can't put this out because it was a bit political, gospel, spiritual, but just a fantastic album. Marvin Gaye, What's Going On. So third item is Analogue Productions' One Step of Bob Marley's Rastaman Vibration. There's only 3,500 of these been released. Lovely box. Just a wee certificate there telling you there's 3,500 released. Now this is only, see the advertisement of the LP's gone by, and a wee technical manual how the one steps are made. Yeah, it's only on one disc 33, and a lovely wee booklet here. Bob Marley, the making of the album. So a nice wee booklet to have. And the LP itself with textured sleeve. So originally this was released in 1976. Now it's on the Tough Gong label. The Tough Gong was Bob Marley's label in Jamaica. But Bob Marley was signed to Island Records in the UK. So I don't know why the label isn't the UK original Island label. Anyway, it doesn't really matter, they maybe try to make it slightly more authentic. I've got number 227. Sound quality is absolutely brilliant. I've not got original or another copy to judge it by, but it's fantastic anyway. 3,500 copies. I was going to buy one. You'll always get your money back. You can't lose on it. You play it 100 times and sell it again. It's a good thing about Analogue Productions. You can put your money in gold or you can put your money in their vinyl. You'll not lose anything. I think as Analogue Productions is a audiophile label, I think I would have preferred it done in 45, because they're only doing 3,500. But they've done this in this series. I think I've got 2 Jimi Hendrix of 33. I've got Jethro Tull. They've done that in a double 45. Then I bought the Miles Davis 33, and I wasn't going to buy a year later the Fine Kind of Blue in double 45. It's like, really? Should have brought it out at the time at double 45. But anyway, this is great value. Why do they do it on 33? $125, which is fair enough, because a 2-disc 45 version is only $150. It's only an extra $25. So you can see why they're not pumping out these on the 2-disc, what the audiophile wants. I mean, we'd rather Analogue Productions with the whole 9 miles. I'm not buying any of the Steely Dans, so I was quick to jump on this. I may buy one of the Steely Dans. I mean, when Analogue Productions started these, they only done like probably one a year, and now they're like, I think maybe we've got 3 or 4 coming out this year, or will be. So I'm going to slow down on these, and I think the public are too. Chad reckoned these would sell out in an hour or 2. I think it took at least 10 days for the 3,500 to go. So people are getting just the amount of audiophile pressings coming out, and the decline in the economy and whatever. Everything's getting a lot more expensive. So I'm really glad to have that. We'd have preferred it in 45 for an extra $25. It's not going to happen. I bought Analogue Productions albums for 20 years or more. So I love the company. I'm not criticising them. Not just bought them for 2 years, but they're a great company. And right, fourth item, staying with Analogue Productions. And this item, I was going to buy it. I'm not going to buy it. It's too expensive. You know what it is now, yeah? It's Bill Evans Riverside recordings. 11 LPs, done it double, 45, $900. Pressed it RTI. Now this was, just get they're advertising the same one, it's in the Bob Marley, so nothing new in here to tempt us with. Everything's been released, and there was a little or a good booklet for all the albums and story about Bill Evans's releases on Riverside. So originally released in 2010, this box set, I think 1,500 copies, pressed at Palace in Germany. Released again in 2017, I'm guessing 3,000 copies, half in Palace and half pressed at RTI, although I'm not very sure on that, and it might have been a wee bit different. That's just according to Discogs. Although I think QPR pressed some copies, so it doesn't say that. I can't see that in Discogs though, so I'm not sure about that. Then it was $600 in 2017 until it sold out, and they were taking pre-orders, I don't know from when. So some people got this at $600, pre-ordered it, then they bumped the price up to $900. So sorry, $80 an LP, 82, but you're paying for the booklet and the box, so approximately $80 for an LP on 2 discs, 45. The quality is fantastic. I noticed one disc maybe dished a wee bit. They sound fantastic, although they're not gatefold. I think, as I said before, I think a wee bit expensive. This is the first album that Bill Evans made for Riverside New Jazz Conceptions in 1957. It was released a few years later with a different cover. And all Bill Evans records, most of them, they were just a 3-piece. This is on the white Riverside label. Just a 3-piece here. Bill Evans, obviously piano, Teddy Kontek on bass, and Paul Motion, who played drums on most of Bill Evans's albums. It was recorded in 1956 and released in 56, 57. Fantastic album. There's 11 tracks on it, so shorter tracks, and a lot of standards, Cole Porter, some Bill Evans tracks on it, and Waltz for Debbie is on this too, one of his classic tracks. So fantastic sounding album. Bill Evans first. Now he took 27 months to release his second album, Everybody Digs Bill Evans, and this was 1959, so I think he had appeared on Kinda Blue by then, and then the labels, all the rest of the labels going to the Black Riverside label. Trio again, and he moves to Sam Jones on bass and Philly Joe Jones and drums, so obviously a little Miles Davis thing going on there. We're down to 10 tracks on here, and just a beautiful album again. This just come on Thursday, this box set. I only had 2 of the LPs, so I didn't know the rest, so it's been quite a marathon listening to them all over the 3 days. Yeah, So everybody digs Bill Evans. The second one. Third one, Portrait in Jazz. And we go to the classic three-piece Bill Evans, and this was from 1960. And we've got Scott LaFaro on bass and Paul Motion on drums. This was recorded in 1959, released in 60. And we've got Autumn Leaves on this. Is quite a classic jazz track. Spring is Here, Someday My Prince Will Come, Blue and Green, which is on the Miles Davis kind of blue. Fantastic album. This is an upgrade. This is one of the albums I had. It's an upgrade. I sold my other copy, which was Analogue Music Mobile Fidelity Sound Lab One Step. I sold and made a wee bit of money off it, and helped go to the purchase of this. So fantastic album. Portrait in Jazz, one of Bill Evans' best albums. In this anyway, or maybe it's just because I know it more. Right, so 1961, we've got Explorations, and the same lineup, recorded in February 61. We're down to 8 tracks now. Well, we've got on it, Israel's on it, Nardis by Miles Davis, Elsa, which was a track that he played quite a bit on other albums. And obviously most of these albums are in the same vein. I mean, Bill Evans could have been a classic, or he did play a lot of classical in his training, you know. It's between jazz and classical music a lot of the time. And now the big album from 1961, Bill Evans Trio, Sunday at the Village Vanguard, featuring Scott LaFaro. This famously was, I think it was Scott LaFaro's last album. He died 4 months after this in a car crash. And obviously Paul Motion still on drums. And the reason it's saying Scott, well, I'll get to that now. Great album. Probably not an upgrade for me. I've got the Mo-Fi One Step, which when it's coming up there, somebody's just offered me money on it. I don't know if I'm going to sell it, but the price the guy's offering. But I've got the One Step, the Mo-Fi One Step, which I think is better in this copy. But there's no point in keeping them all, and this is really good. On here we've got Solar by Miles Davis, and it features a couple of Scott LaFaro, the bass player's songs on here, Gloria's Step and Jade Vision. Such a beautiful live album. Sunday at the Village Vanguard. Next off we have, released in 62, which was the year after, is Waltz for Debbie. Now it's a live album too. It's from the same sessions as the Village Vanguard, live at the Village Vanguard. It probably should have been a double album, but what they done was split that first album to feature Scott LaFaro. And the tracks on that album, a couple of his songs, and more featured his bass playing. And this was Waltz for Debbie was the rest of the session, the live session. And we've got Milestones in here by Miles Davis, and Waltz for Debbie, which was played quite a lot by Bill Evans during the years. Fantastic album. Next off we have Moonbeams from 1962 again. And now obviously Scott LaFaro's gone, and we've got Chuck Israels coming in as bass. adds a wee bit different vibe to the trio. And still a lot of jazz standards. I mean, every album's maybe got 2 or 3 Bill Evans tracks, and he plays a lot of, well, we've got Van Heusen on here, Rodgers and Hammerstein. Moonbeams. Okay, next off we have Know What I Mean by Cannonball Adderley with Bill Evans. This is Cannonballs Adderley's band. They do Waltz for Debbie, they do 2 Bill Evans tracks, and Know What I Mean, which was recorded for this session. And they also do Elsa, which was an old Bill Evans standard. And the band on here is Cannonball, obviously, on alto sax. Percy Heath plays bass, and Connie Kay on drums. Now, this is my only, I think I'd rather, it's a beautiful, brilliant album, and it's a nice way when you're playing the albums to get something different coming up in the trio. But it's a Cannonball Adderley album, really. They could have reduced it to 10 albums. Nobody would have been any the wiser and brought that price down to, but brought it down a bit. Why they stuck that in there, I don't know. Obviously features Bill Evans, but Bill Evans featured on a lot of other people's albums apart from his own. But anyway, it's a beautiful album, and it features heavily, obviously, on the album, doing the leads between Cannonball and himself. Beautiful album. Don't think I needed this LP really, but there you go. So next off we have from 1963, Interplay. So yeah, 63. So we've got Bill Evans here doing a bit of a band thing, maybe coming off the back of that, and don't know if he was trying to do a kind of blue type thing, but he's got a bigger band here, and it's not his usual guys backing. It's we've got Freddie Hubbard on trumpet, we've got Jim Hall on guitar, Percy Heath on bass, and Philly Joe Jones again on drums. Beautiful cover on this too, isn't it? Yeah, it's nice to hear again, and all this something a wee bit different for Bill. In 11 albums we're getting him doing something different. I think really we've got Jim Hall on the guitar. I think I would have preferred a wee bit trumpet in there, or a wee bit sax. But anyway, it's a great album, and Bill Evans Quintet. 2 to go, hang in, if anybody's here, maybe not. How My Heart Sings from 1963. Same band, Paul Motion on drums and Chuck Israels on bass. Nothing much different about this album. Usual few Bill Evans tracks. I mean, I've only listened to these albums once. They all sound fantastic, and it's right in the vein of what Bill Evans does. And last but not least, we have the Bill Evans Trio. It's live at Shelly Mann Hall, Hollywood, California. Shelly Mann. So this is a live album. It's from 1964. And we've got Chuck Israels on bass. So they played this club for, they played a few dates just themselves. Don't know what happened to Paul Motion. He'd maybe left or departed. And so they played a few dates on their own, and there was a bass player, there was a drummer in the hall, the crowd, and so his name was Larry Bunker. So they done a few nights with Larry Bunker, and after 4 nights they recorded this album. And again, it's a beautiful album, sounds fantastic. No Rudy Van Gelder on here, not needed. All the albums sound great, well recorded. Phew, and that's it. I bought it, can't believe I did. One thought though, maybe it probably would have had to redo the metal work, but this time we're making double 45 albums takes so long. I think 11 albums at 33 at half the price, and I probably would have bought it right away, you know. Being a box set and all that would have been good, I think. Anyway, that's just my thoughts. Okay, thanks for hanging in, anybody who did. No music today. Live from a new room, my dining room. Okay guys, catch you later. Bye then.